regardless of, you're being nice and you're being professional, just immediately going above their head is like cutting them at the knees too.
Yeah. So for Merrick's, everybody actually at MPX2, you get a designated underwriter. So you're always going to deal with the same person. What we feel, and when I say we, I mean from a credit side of things, is so often the broker will not ask the underwriter for an exception because they feel like, okay, well, that was what they said. I saw it in the commitment. She can't do anything about it. But in fact, calling an underwriter and saying, hey, I was wondering if you could look at it from this angle. Here's what I'm thinking. You'd be surprised how many times the underwriter will go, oh, yeah, you know what? That's okay. You know what? I didn't think about it that way. Let me get back to you. That is how you build a relationship with the underwriter, is because it is their business, call it, that they're underwriting their portfolio. And so they appreciate that respect. But now let's say the underwriter says, look, this is out of my control. Like, this is the rule. I can't do anything about it. Even just that, do you mind if I go and ask your manager if they are able to make an exception? Just that courtesy. And why that's important, because on that next deal, they're going to see it come in and go, okay, he or she really respected me. I want to work really hard for them. So that next piece is that you should really talk to your BDM and say, hey, I want to escalate this, and they can help you do that. I think that sometimes broker or the agent will escalate that to one of you to reach out on an escalation, but building that relationship within the credit center leadership for yourself, even if it's your first deal you've done with us, is okay. We're happy to talk to the three of you anytime. But I'm just saying that it is helpful for you to build those relationships. And it's all about approach. It's, hey, have you thought about it from this angle? I mean, when I was underwriting, 18 years ago, people didn't approach things in a very diplomatic way. There was a lot of yelling and stuff, but we don't do business with those people anymore. Yeah. So, but I think, most of us are kind and respectful. And if you approach it in that way, that you'll get ahead.
It's a good way for you to learn too. Like if you're actually having that dialogue, like, why didn't this work out? Like, Can you coach me through this? Like, and maybe on the next deal, it's going to help out. It's going to create more efficiency. That's a good way to approach it, right?
I mean, you think about a broker that's worked with his client for 4 or 5 months, right? Like they have everything in their mind, and like translating that through submission notes that are this big and docs, like it's hard to achieve, right? Like unless you're actually a really good communicator and you can document the nuance and the why in those deal notes, oftentimes you just have to make a call, right? And I think if you're not doing that, to your point, like the level of respect that you have to provide lenders, like those are the people that are approving your deals, right? And if you like working with Merrick's, you're going to work with that underwriter over and over and over again. Like we put a ton of weight on that when we were brokering. We tell our brokers to do the same thing, because I'd rather have a good lender on my side than a realtor.
Well, it also goes back to what you were saying about not every underwriter underwrites the same. Is I often ask brokers, how many lenders do you deal with? And so some of them will say, how many on the A side? And they go, I deal with 10. And how many on the alt side? 10. I go, do you know all those underwriters? No wonder everything feels different to you. So you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, but you should spend time understanding and getting to know underwriters.
The one piece you mentioned is like, don't just go above their head, because like, regardless of, you're being nice and you're being professional, just immediately going above their head is like cutting them at the knees too. Yeah. Like, so taking that time to have that conversation, I think is a huge takeaway.